Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. John Ashbrook is one of the fellows of the Ruthless podcast. He joins us from the Ruthless headquarters. And John, I know that in your studio, you go for the minimalist look with a little bit of the postmodern architecture behind you, but white walls, right? There's just a Ruthless pod. I have a suggestion for you. This was given to me by one of my lads this weekend. It says the national champions, Ohio State 34, Notre Dame 23 from the Plain Dealer. Now, Holmes is from Minnesota. They'll never get one of these.
Right.
And Duncan is from Indiana. He'll never get one of these.
Right.
And Smug is from North Carolina. And this isn't about basketball. So do you think they'd mind if you just like hung it in the studio for a while? Because it would be fitting.
Listen, Hugh, it would be our pleasure to put a poster for the real national champions from last year and the likely national champions for this year. I don't know how closely you watched that game against Texas.
Oh, very.
But Ohio State,
Very.
I mean, they crushed them. They looked really, really good. Sayan looked like an excellent quarterback, and I feel like we got a great season ahead.
I'm so glad that he didn't say anything about Matt Patricia because a lot of people were ragging on his hire. And all of a sudden, welcome to the NFL, Texas boys, because this is how they do the coverage in the NFL. It was a shutdown. Now, Ashbrook, the parlay is back this week, correct?
Mm-hmm. It sure is.
Well, you know where your Bengals are playing.
I do know where my Bengals are playing.
They don't win in Cleveland.
It's a very, very tough rivalry. Despite everything else, it's always a tough rivalry between Cincinnati and Cleveland. And your defense, I think, is ready for it. But our offense is I got to tell you, Hugh, I think we may have the best offense in the NFL this year.
Have you checked whether or not Burrows is hurt?
Burrow is
he's
very
usually
healthy.
Hurt.
He's very healthy
checking.
headed into this season. He's very healthy headed into this season. He's got the best wide receiver in the NFL, and his number 2 wide receiver, T. Higgins, probably would be the top wide receiver on half the teams in the league. So I think
we'll talk.
Our offense.
We'll talk on Monday. I got to cover 2 serious things with you. First of all, you went back to the White House as the Ruthless White House correspondent, and I want to know if you stayed for the entire cabinet meeting, which was 4.5 hours long.
I did. I stayed for the entire thing. And some people had the temerity to suggest that it wasn't the longest cabinet meeting in history. They said that, Andy Jackson had one that was 10 minutes longer back in the 1800s. And I dispute that. I don't think the clocks in the 1800s were as good as the clocks are today. I think that our great president, Donald Trump, not only had the longest cabinet meeting in history, but he entertained questions from the press left and right all day long. And we were there the entire time. We talked to a couple of different cabinet secretaries.
John, did you take a break? Did you take a break to go to the bathroom, to go get a protein bar, drink of water?
You know, our president didn't take a break to go to the bathroom, so we felt like we couldn't do that either. We had to match him as best we possibly could. And there were a couple of cabinet secretaries who weren't able to make it because they had to catch flights for very important meetings, but a couple of them stuck around and did interviews, and it was just
you jumped Chris Wright. Good interview with Chris Wright. Yeah, good interview. So that was.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to check it professionally. You stayed. You were there for the whole time. You can't leave something like a once-in-a-lifetime historic count. Now I want to talk about inside baseball. I've written a column for Fox for Thursday that began listening to you. Well, it's about the rules change that you guys talked about. And I think the Republicans have to do this. The leadership promise, Mr. Barrasso, Senator Barrasso wrote a piece, Tom Cotton on this program, said we're going to change the rules. I don't think it's an option. I think they have to do it, John Ashbrook. Do you think they have to do it?
I do too. And I mean, all of the problems in the Senate as it comes to rules and as it comes to nominations, all of these problems were beginning with Democrats. Harry Reid, and you remember this very well, Hugh. Harry Reid and Democrats started the opposition to Republican nominees, where before Harry Reid was there, Republicans would routinely support the Democrat when they were in charge in the White House. And so what Harry Reid did was the nuclear option on judges and on so many things in the Senate. And I think it's time to change the rules to be able to keep up with what has to happen in our government. I mean, you've seen this, and Hugh, I know you've covered it on your show, but there are these district judges who are overruling or attempting to overrule basic decisions from the executive that 77 million people voted, according to Article 2 in our Constitution, to empower the President of the United States to make administrative decisions. There are district court judges all across this country who were appointed and confirmed by Democrats who are trying to step into the process and act like legislators.
This controversy dates all the way back to the first W term when
Yeah.
Democrats blocked judicial nominees. And so Bill Fress, then Senate Majority Leader in 2005, said, I'm going to go nuclear. Gang of 14 undercut him. I never thought Senator Frist regained his mojo after his conference deserted him. And then 2013, Harry Reid does go nuclear. 2017, Mitch McConnell, your old boss, matches him and goes. I just think there come points where the Senate has to say that the rules are for a continuing body, but if you're not going to play by the rules, the unwritten rules, we're not going to stand by the unwritten rule that you don't change the rules.
Yeah, yeah, Hugh, I remember one thing that Senator McConnell said at the time when Harry Reid did what he did is you are going to regret this and you're going to regret it a lot sooner than you think. And Democrats started it. They started it back when W was in office, as you remember, and you pointed out, and they have gotten worse and worse and worse over time. The worst aspects of their entire party are to have taken over, and I don't know when they're going to be able to right the ship and become normal again, but it is not happening anytime soon.
Now, the question goes to the base. I think Republicans will be very, very upset with the Senate GOP if they don't do this because it's 100% blockage. They've done no unanimous consents, as you guys reviewed today. Not one. It's at the minimum until this time is 57% of nominees received unanimous consent. Not one nominee for President Trump in his second term. 57% of Biden nominees got unanimous consent. Do you think there's a price that will be paid if Republicans do not get this done?
I think they have to get it done. And Hugh, you mentioned, you went back to the Bush administration. I assume you were talking about Miguel Estrada, one of the greatest legal minds of our era, just a brilliant, brilliant guy that the Democrats stopped. And they started this train. And I got to tell you, I think that Republicans will follow through with making sure that the courts are represented by a list of people who represent the will of the voters when they installed Donald Trump as president of the United States. And I think, we talked to Eric Schmidt today. He's senator from Missouri, got a background as the AG from that state, very influential member, and he gave us the impression that the Senate is moving in the right direction.
Well, that is excellent, John Ashbrook. Don't be too upset about Sunday. And remember, this can be on loan. It's like a Smithsonian painting. It can be on loan to the Ruthless Studio if and when you want it. But in the meantime, just do not be too upset come Sunday. John Ashbrook from the Ruthless Podcast. Thank you.